Girls mature faster than boys is a concept that most people are familiar with. It's often used to imply that girls are smarter or are less likely, based on some form of intelligence, to take fewer risks than boys. One Google search is all you need to end up buried in articles asserting this claim. But mature as a word is a synonym for wisdom and ripen. Its opposite is immature or less mature, which boys must be if girls are more mature, whatever that means. So, let's deal with mature as in ripen, in terms of reproductive development first. Girls go through puberty on average earlier than boys, which means girls on average can gestate children earlier than boys can sire them. Women on average tend to prefer men who are older and bigger than them, and men on average tend to prefer women who are younger or smaller than them, disregarding what people do or don't end up with as individuals. Both of these preferences are somehow unrelated to the previous point of who hits puberty first on average. And if you're going to frame any gender's preferences in a negative way, it's going to be men's for predatorily looking down in terms of size or age or wealth, not women for looking up, because that's just being smart. Now, let's deal with wisdom or maturity in decision making. You are mature because you make good decisions. Taking fewer risks can come down to intelligence, or it can be cowardice, or it could be a blend of both. If we say, stop acting like a girl, it's not dissimilar to saying stop being a pussy, which is usually an appeal to stop being a scaredy cat and be willing to take risks. So saying girls or women take fewer risks because they're more mature would lead one to think that it was due to intelligence and not fear. Boys and men often engage in high risk-taking behaviors, specifically to peacock or to show off to girls and women. Boys are attracted to things, girls are attracted to people. If men take risks and master something, then they prove their value to that which was already valuable to them by design. If women maintain their value and make the right assessment of a prospective partner, then they acquire a conduit to value that they can use. The male of any species almost always has to go through some rigmarole to assert that it has value to a female, a potential partner, as male value is not inherent. The female's value isn't usually questioned because mating on its own carries almost no risk to males, assuming sexual dimorphism favors the males being larger than the females. So genetic filtering of a sexually reproducing species comes down primarily to the female of said species making assessments that males don't have to make. You have more female ancestors than male ancestors because even though carrying a child is biologically harder than siring one, attracting a viable fertile mate as a male clearly must be harder than actually just gestating a child, because if it wasn't that way, then things would be different. In a context where the females of a species are exponentially bigger than the males, it's because reproduction is never such a bottleneck that females need males as larger, expendable fighting units for her offspring to survive. The males can be tadpole-sized, but if they survive and they make it to a female, let's say it's a spider of some kind, then that which allowed those tiny males to survive likely isn't a reproductive negative to future males or females of that species. Hypergamy is counterbalanced in nature in the absence of something like enforced monogamy or the patriarchy, if you want to frame it that way, by men or males aiming low enough that they can meet or exceed a female's expectations. That's why men going overseas to find a wife from a poor country is not counterbalanced by women doing the same while also looking for a poorer man. It's more likely counterbalanced by a woman with wealth picking high-quality Danish sperm for IVF and having the benefits of good male genetics without an unnecessary male present. Make sperm donation race-blind, and those types of women seeking sperm for IVF will likely get it from the tap instead of going through the male. Pun intended. But with that, I think I should finish up here, and I'll move on to counterbalancing the idea of man up in more detail, getting into the idea of deadbeat male and what would constitute a deadbeat female, toxic masculinity, what would constitute toxic femininity, and with those components, why something like an appeal to gender diversity in a workplace is never an appeal for more men. If you're still here, thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a complete waste of time or I'm insane, because I don't want to waste my time wasting other people's time, or if I'm wrong about something, I genuinely want to know.